miss you so much. So Alfredo and I are going to talk to you today, just real quick, about present passive and past simple passive. But before we start with the serious stuff, we thought we'd do a quick riddle. So check it out. Someone's mother has 4 sons, north, west, and south. What's the name of the 4th son? You can take a minute or two to think about it. But while you're thinking, we're going to move on. We'll come back to it later. So first, passive. Remember, we use passive voice when the person or thing that did an action is unknown, unimportant, or just not the focus of our interest. An example of this would be maybe with an investigation. So let's look at this example. The fire was started at 4 o'clock this morning. Police are investigating who was involved. So we don't know who started the fire. We just know that there was a fire and that police are investigating. They're looking for the person. Let's start with the present passive. So present passive is used to talk about certain actions that are performed in the present, or things that are happening repeatedly, habits, or else simple statements of fact or universal truth. For the present passive, we use the present tense of the verb to be, most often is or are, and the past participle of the action verb. On occasion, we can also use the personal first tense, the I am, but not too often. An example of that could be, I am wanted by the police for a crime I didn't commit. But more likely, you would use is and are, like in the example below. Electricity is wasted when we leave the lights on. Okay? We're going to look at some more examples. So, first one we're going to look at will be, any second now? The floor isn't washed every day. So this is a fact, and we don't know who's washing the floor. We just know that it isn't washed every day. The next one is a statement of fact. It's a universal truth. Glass is composed of, or glass is made from, sand. So that doesn't involve a person. It's just a statement. Number 3, in Kenya, flip-flops are collected from the ocean and are made into boats. Remember, with the passive voice, the person who's doing the action is either unknown or unimportant. So the thing here that's important are the fact that the flip-flops are collected and that boats are made from the flip-flops. You can actually see a picture of one up above. Now, here we have some active sentences on the left with the passive sentence underneath it. So the first one, they serve breakfast at 7 a.m. So if you go to a hotel, maybe you walk in and they wouldn't say to you, we serve breakfast at 7 a.m. They would tell you, breakfast is served at 7 a.m. So, you know the most important things. It doesn't matter who's serving it. It just matters that it is being served. Number 2, the owners walk the dogs every day. We can also say the dogs are walked every day. If you want to include the person or people who are involved in the action, you use the preposition by. So we would say the dogs are walked every day by their owners. The third sentence, they don't collect trash on Tuesdays. Sorry. We don't know who they are, and it really isn't as important. The most important part is that the trash isn't collected on Tuesdays. It's that fact, that statement. So now it's your turn. Let's look at the 2 above. So trash and plastic make up the island. If the island is the most important part of this sentence, we could change it to say, the island is made up of plastic and trash, or trash and plastic. How about the second one? In order to respond to the crisis, emergency workers need supplies. Let's look at the second part of that sentence. Emergency workers need supplies. So if the thing that's most important are the supplies that are needed, then we would say that supplies are needed by emergency workers. And then you could say, in order to respond to the crisis. Okay? Supplies, being the object, the thing that's most important though, are needed by the emergency workers. So now let's look at the past simple passive. So present passive are things that are happening right now, or they're habits that continue to happen, or statements of fact. When we talk about the past simple passive, we're referring to things that have already taken place in the past. There's still things that are true, and we can use the past tense of the verb to be, so using was or were, and the past participle of the action verb. If I asked you, when was America discovered? Then you would respond, America was discovered in 1492. Let's look at some more examples. So, the Great Wall of China wasn't built in a day. It was started in the 7th century BC, and it was completed in the 19th century AD. Over 2,000 years. So, we use the passive voice here. We use the past simple passive because we're not asking about who built it. We're asking when it was built. Now let's look at the next one. Many scientists believe that dinosaurs were wiped out by a meteor. Now here we go. Some more examples for you to practice. People weren't prepared for the pandemic to spread so quickly. It's a statement of fact that has to do with something that's happened already. The second one, Alfredo was found hiding under the sheets. This is true. I can attest for it. Another way of saying this sentence, if I wanted to include myself in it, would be to say, Alfredo was found by me hiding under the sheets. The last one, the answer wasn't given by the teacher. Notice how we're still using that preposition by to let you know who did the action. So let's look at these last three. I want you to try them. The first one, yesterday she prepared dinner at 8:30. Well, I don't know who she was, and it doesn't really matter. The thing that was important is that yesterday dinner was prepared at 8:30. Number two, they extinguished the fire. Another way to say this would be the fire was extinguished. And the last one, the neighbor returned the toys. So, the toys were returned by the neighbor. And here you go. Here's your answer. Someone's mother has 4 sons, north, west, and south. The name of her 4th son? Well, if it's someone's mother, then the name of the 4th son must be someone. So I hope that with all of that, you've learned something and that you guys are doing really well. Alfredo and I miss you so much. And to use our present passive, I can tell you, you are very missed and very loved by Alfredo and I. We'll talk to you soon.